and welcome to the first event of the 2004 ITU World Cup Series. We're in Ishigaki, Japan for round one of this year's tour. It's an event that has become one of the premier stops of the season and a regular season opener, with many of the world's best all beginning their campaign here. Australia's Loretta Harrop is back in action in 2004 and ready to return to her winning ways, along with teammates Maxine Sear and world number one Greg Bennett. All three athletes have already qualified for the Australian Olympic Triathlon team heading to Athens this summer. Last year's winner in Ishigaki, Greg Bennett, spent the early part of the season focused on making his country's Olympic team. But now that he has that spot secured, his focus is firmly set on the big event in August and a possible Olympic medal.
For me, this year's about, obviously, racing. I love to race. But I believe this year I have to hold myself back. You know, many years I turn up to Ishigaki and I'm like, let's start this year with a bang and let's try and go for the win. And, you know, for me it's more like this year, let's wind up to the Olympics gradually. I want to be on fire. Come August, I want to be excited about racing. I don't want to be tired of racing.
Bennett had arguably the best season of his racing career in 2003, kicking it off in style with a victory over teammate Chris Hill at the series opener in Ishigaki. It was Bennett's formidable run that made him one of the most consistent men on tour last season.
At the time when we were having to trial in February and December of last year, I thought it was a great disadvantage. I didn't want to have to be racing in what for me has become almost my off-season. But making the team finally on the 1st of February allowed me to take most of February quite relaxed and really wind into the year a little bit more steady than I have done in the past. I don't take the 70 World Cups I've done lighthearted. I know they are what make me the athlete today. And the athletes that are talking about getting ready for Greece now might as well not show up, because now we're just in the final preparation. You're not going to be able to do so much in the next 3 to 4 months. You know, you make your teams and you turn up, the work's done. You know, we have a little bit more work and that's it, just to top ourselves up. But if you're not ready to really win already, you're not going to.
Bennett's teammate Loretta Harrop also comes into this season opener as one of the athletes with her spot already confirmed for Athens. But there are many competitors yet to be selected, including Michelle Dillon and the rest of the British squad, who are using this event as a qualifier for their Olympic team. With a lot of top-ranked Brits on the start line, qualifying won't be an easy task for anyone today.
No, I can't do this. What is that? A skateboard? Oh no, I'm a passive woman. I'm a passive nature explorer. Oh no, baby. Oh no, oh no.
What are you? Go to findyouraq.com.
This fall, you're gonna fall hard. If I should slow, catch my boat, yeah. If I should slow. Series, all new special events.
This is big.
Catch our fall on OLN. How can you tell you're drinking a True Blue Foster's? The beer pours downwards towards Australia, of course. Well, that and the light, crisp, refreshing taste. Foster's, Australian for beer.
Healthy snack. Taste great. Goes everywhere. Everyone loves it. Oh boy, Oberto beef jerky. Taste what's real. It better be Oberto.
I'm here at my favorite neighborhood. It's amazing here. I've got the best neighbors around. They're super quiet. All the manini, uhu, kala, honu, and tons of other fish for that matter. When I paddle out here, it doesn't matter what kind of day I've had. This place is so special, it washes everything else away.
The people of Hawaii would like to share their islands with you. Plan your trip now at gohawaii.com.
Oh, thanks, Marge. Sorry.
There's this guy named Murphy. He's got this law that says whatever can go wrong will. That's why the trail-rated Jeep Grand Cherokee is tested on Earth's toughest terrain. It's your loophole in Murphy's Law. Get $1,500 bonus cash for a total cash allowance of $5,000 on Grand Cherokee at the Jeep Model Year-End Clearance.
Well, we're ready for the start of the women's race. The ladies just lining up, ready to head out onto that pontoon. I'm Christine Brown, and joining me is Barry Shepley to call this women's race. Barry, the first race of the season, always a little bit different than those other races coming up later on.
Christine, one of the very interesting things when you take a look, some of the athletes that aren't here, the top Americans that have stayed away, their Olympic trials coming up very soon. Mariana Hada taking a look, #1 ranked athlete coming in. Loretta Harrop last year was not the kind of season she looked for. Michelle Dillon leading a very strong British team that's here. They're going after an Olympic spot today, so you know that they're going to really be spot on.
Of course, Brigitte McMahon, the Olympic champion from 2000, also in this race, looking for a bit of a comeback. We have a substantial women's field here, not the biggest field we've ever seen, but a good quality field. As you mentioned, though, a lot of the top-ranked women not racing here today.
Well, this is going to be a season of athletes who are doing things because of the Olympics, trying to get out there, trying to get on their Olympic team. Some athletes are going to have to focus on that. Other athletes have already made their Olympic team, and they're going to be working backwards from Athens. So this entire season really is going to be about athletes who are trying to make the team and athletes who are trying to be ready for that date in August.
Well, there we see a beautiful overhead shot of the course, the women just coming into the swim course here, into your view, and there we see the course details. A 1.5K swim, 2 laps here, and the big thing to note, no wetsuits, very warm conditions. They then go on to a 6-lap, 40-kilometer bike, and they've changed the bike course this year. It now has 2 hills, one being that bridge you see in the distance, as well another hill through the town. That's something that will make this course a little more difficult than it has been in the past.
We've got a couple new swimmers really taking it out today. Annalisa Hurd, the 2-time world junior champion from Great Britain, really pushing it, and a Canadian who is a past 400 IM swimmer, new to the sport of triathlon, Susan Wicken. Look for her to be one of those athletes early in the swim.
A hard winter of racing and training had Loretta Harrop and Maxine Sear feeling a little more relaxed than most in Ishigaki, knowing their spots in Athens were already secure.
Did quite a few races through the Australian season and got the Australian season out of the way. And before that, I did quite a big base period last year, so it was fun racing the Australian season. It was a new season and lots of different races and different ways of racing. I experimented quite a bit and actually found a way that worked quite well, so it was really fun.
Just shy of her 20th birthday, Sear will no doubt be one of the youngest triathlon competitors at the Games. And after unseating Aussie veteran and Olympic silver medalist McKaylee Jones for a spot on the team, she certainly has a lot to prove on the international stage.
For the most part, we trained through the season. We've only really picked up for a couple of the bigger races, the Olympic trials, but other than that, mostly just trained through that and used it as a good hit out for training. But then after the World Champs, we're going to go home and have a time at home, sort of use that as our winter base training instead while the others are racing. The depth in Australia is pretty amazing, so it's always a good race just racing domestically, and I think that really helps leading into the international season. So even though the race sizes are smaller, there's not as many girls, it's definitely intense racing.
And in the lead right now. Well, Susan Wicken from Canada, this athlete has not been in many triathlons. She's only had less than half of a season, has come from being a school teacher, taken a little time away, and right now she has really stepped it up and is one of those athletes who've been able to transfer from one sport, world-class swimming, right into triathlon.
Well, she certainly isn't the only one who has done exactly that. Look at Barb Lindquist, Sheila Taramina, several other athletes who perhaps not as well known as those two, who have come from an elite swimming background in this race. Loretta Harrop from Australia, also coming from an elite swimming background, transitions very well into cycling, and it's usually the run they have to work a little bit at. But you see already Suzanne Wecken, she is doing very, very well in her first World Cup competition.
Well, this is the perfect kind of course for a pool swimmer because it's very, very simple. They've got a long series of buoys. You don't have to worry about the big water.
There we see Suzanne Wecken and Annalise Hurd coming out of the water. Remember, a 2-lap swim here, 750 meters for each lap. And in this race, quite unique, they have the athletes come right out of the water so the spectators get a great view. Just sitting in about 3rd or 4th, another British athlete, a top swimmer, Julie Dibbins, also going through.
You can see a significant gap now coming as these athletes are coming out of the water. Tara Ross from Canada coming through, one of the up-and-coming swimmers. Also in there, Nina Ansanova coming through, and Teresa Missel from the Czech Republic. The athletes are coming through right now, about 20 seconds down, 750 meters through, one complete lap to go.
Someone we also saw just completing her first lap, Brigitte McMahon, the Olympic champion from Sydney in 2000, making a bit of a comeback. She's taken some time off. She's had 2 children since that last Olympic Games, but she's really starting to make a comeback this season on the world stage. Suzanne Weckend may be a newcomer to the world stage, competing in the first World Cup of her career, but she has made a name for herself already this season, finishing 3rd at the Pan American Regional Championships in early March behind American veterans Sheila Taormina and Joanna Zeiger. In Ishigaki, she proved her form in the water over the early stages of the race, and alongside Britain's Annalise Hurd managed to build a sizable lead over the remainder of the field. Heading on to the second lap, Weckend increased her turnover and managed to pull away from Hurd, leaving the young Canadian in sole possession of the lead.
Well, Suzanne Weckend's strength already over now. It's out of the water right there. First, passing in the transition zone, Annalise Hurd, helmet on, getting ready to head out. You can see a very large contingent of women coming out of the water, down by about 25 seconds.
Maxine Cyr, one of the athletes leading out of transition, and she's an athlete a lot of eyes will be following this year. She was a bit of a surprise to make the Australian Olympic team, a real newcomer to the sport, but she's so far proving herself on the international stage and definitely one to watch.
Well, Julie Dibbins in this group, and she is such a strong cyclist that you have to believe she's going to be able to pull some of those women along to catch up to the lead group of 2 who've taken off by about 30 seconds. There's a hill very early in this course, and that really can take its toll as some of these athletes coming out of the water, they don't have a lot of blood in their legs, and they're really going to be working very hard. Andrea Whitcomb right there, she's had a pretty solid swim. She's not a great swimmer, but she's in a solid position right now, and she heads out 35 to 40 seconds down.
There is Maxine Cyr just leading this chase group out. A substantial group there, 32, that's Julie Dibbins. Those athletes just heading out onto this 6-lap bike course. And there is the hill you talked about, Barry. And you'll notice those flags flying in the breeze. That adds a significant challenge to that hill.
Well, the other thing that Ishigaki is famous for is the tremendous humidity. You can see right here we have a large number of athletes all within about 30 seconds of each other, and that means that the bike is really going to take its toll. If this chase pack works very hard very quickly, there is no reason that they won't be able to swallow up those 2 lead swimmers. Right now, we're looking at no athlete who really is dominant on the bike in this particular course. I believe you're likely to see it come down to the run.
Well, certainly wonderful to see all those flags present in the top 10 coming out of the water. Here we're looking at our leaders, Julie Dibbins and Annalise Hurd, the 2 British athletes, and you can see already that chase pack has caught up to those 2 leaders. Julie Dibbins, as we mentioned, one of the strongest cyclists in the field, and there you see the large lead pack heading out onto lap 1 here in Ishigaki, Japan.
They feed on danger, repel adversity, and pain only makes them stronger. They are fearless. OLN uncovers the true life stories of real action figures. Fearless, every Tuesday at 9, only on OLN.
We are rocket scientists. Our mission, to explore the outer limits of power and control. Which explains how we dreamt up a 227 horsepower turbocharged boxer engine bolted to a symmetrical all-wheel drive system. We've taken performance to a world it's never been before. The Subaru WRX.
We have ignition.
Visit your Subaru dealer for 2.9% APR for 63 months on every 2005 Subaru.
There's more to protecting your family in the summertime than knowing which sunscreen to use. You've got to make sure they're protected at home as well. And no one helps protect families better than ADT. Call now and ask about ADT's summer special. Get your first 2 months of monitoring free and up to 20% off your homeowner's insurance. You may even qualify for zero-down financing for installation. ADT helps keep more people safe in more ways than any other security company in America. And a single ADT system can help protect your home and family from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide. You'll be connected to our customer monitoring center, where ADT professionals are watching out for you around the clock. So when an alarm is triggered, we can call for help right away. Call now and take advantage of ADT's summer special. Get your first 2 months of monitoring free and up to 20% off your homeowner's insurance. But you better hurry. Let ADT make this the safest summer ever. ADT, always there.
And here we see the lead pack of women just out of the saddle, climbing up that big hill, heading on to lap 2. Julie Dibbins from Great Britain in the lead.
Eva Bambrook just behind her. This group working very, very hard. That hill takes its toll. It doesn't look that tough on television, but I can tell you, having been on this course before, it really starts to work later on. You can see the long line now behind Julie Dibbins as they start to go back down. The athletes will go about 800 meters down, do a 180-degree turn, and come right back up that hill again. It really starts to eat away at your legs by the time you get into that 5th and 6th lap.
Well, here we're looking back down the field a little further to the chase packs. And into this group, you notice Andrea Whitcomb into there. Very strong runner, but she's left herself some work to do. Brigitte McMahon from Switzerland also into one of those chase packs.
Well, really, her focus is on the Olympic Games. And when we talked to her in the past, she really had one idea. Get through the last year. She had some injuries she had to deal with. Start to get consistent, and now she's really starting to round into form. And that's important because when you've learned how to win before, you're able to have that confidence to do it again in the future.
Well, many athletes into this field looking for that confidence to head into the Olympic Games this year. And looking ahead to our lead group, Machiko Nakanishi, one of the top Japanese women, doing her work at the front, just being passed there by 21. That's Megan Hall from South Africa. Recently won the African Regional Championship, which earned her qualifying spot for the Olympic Games.
Christine, there's a tremendous pressure on the Japanese athletes. This event is a season starter for them for the whole World Cup, but because it's at home, they really have an extra pressure, and we see them rise to some of their best performances of the entire year.
Absolutely. Some of the only podiums we've seen from the Japanese women have come at this very race, so they certainly do race well here in Japan. These great overhead shots really showing not a lot of difference between that lead pack and that group of 5 athletes working so hard to catch up with them here on the bike.
Well, 37-year-old Brigitte McMahon from Switzerland is in a fantastic position. It's been 2.5 years of frustration since her Olympic gold medal, and now she's starting to move her way through the field. You can see right there, that number 15 on her shoulder. She's in a great position today. She has not swam well for a couple of years, worked very hard, and right now she's got to be very, very pleased to be up into that lead group.
First 2 laps, the women's bike was beginning to look similar to a men's race, with the main contenders playing it safe in a small lead pack. Seconds behind, a larger chase pack had formed, but again, no one was willing to push the pace until later in the stage, when Britain's Julie Dibbins made an effort to break away from the lead group. Her efforts didn't amount to much, however, as she ended up back at the head of the lead pack heading into transition. Alongside her were many of the field's top runners, including teammate Michelle Dillon, with both athletes in the hunt for an Olympic berth.
Well, the only thing Julie Dibbins is going to be rewarded for is first off the bike, because she has a very large pack of athletes coming up from behind. Machiko Nakanishi coming off right there from Japan, but all of the major players going to be racking their bikes right now, getting ready to head out. 4 laps, 2.5 kilometers each time, 10K, and it is very hot and humid right now as the athletes head out onto the run course.
Michelle Dillon there in the blue suit, just taking her helmet off, getting those shoes on, not having a great transition. Dillon there, struggling with the shoes and still in transition, so Michelle Dillon losing precious seconds heading out onto that run, not boding well for her. Thankfully, she's a very talented runner. There we see Julie Dibbins leading the athletes so far out onto this run course, 4 laps ahead of these women. Maxine Sear in there, our early leader, Annalise Hurd, also into the mix here. And this is a race that tests your mettle out there on the run. They have to climb that hill on the run, the same hill they climbed on the bike, and it starts right off the bat.
Christine, our past experience on this course are that athletes that take off too hard, too quickly, generally suffer late into the run. And right there you can see Julie Dibbins. She realizes that for her to have any chance of getting on that British team today, she's got to go for broke. Our chase pack coming in right now, that's Samantha McGlone on the left-hand side in the black outfit coming through. We have about 15 athletes into this chase pack right now, and they're down by almost 45 seconds. Mariana Ohata just going by there, and she's a fantastic heat runner.
Akiko Sakine, another one of the best runners in the field there from Japan in the black and the yellow suit, a former medalist at this event, her first podium finish ever at a World Cup here in Ishigaki just a few years ago. And there we see Teresa Massel from the Czech Republic heading out. But our leaders well into the run already, Maxine Cyr, Michelle Dillon going through, and really the pick of the crop as far as runners go all into this lead group.
Well, Sybil Matter right there just going through, and she's an athlete we haven't seen a lot of for the last year or two, but she's very, very strong. You can see right now 1 hour 22 minutes 33 seconds as they come off the bike, and then we've got almost a dozen athletes within about 10 seconds. It's really going to be a factor now. How well hydrated were those athletes when they went out onto the run course, and how much are they prepared to hurt? First race of the year, it's going to be very difficult, and we have not seen many North Americans do very well in this first race. Often they're not ready for that kind of speed, whereas the athletes coming over from Australia, sometimes from Japan, racing very, very well in the season opener.
What's great about this Passat has 4Motion all-wheel drive.
Right.
Responds so fast you won't even know it's working.
Whoa.
There, did you feel that?
No, what?
Exactly.
I didn't feel anything.
Right.
What?
There, did you feel that?
I still didn't feel anything.
There you go. No, did you feel that?
No, what?
I'm just kidding that time. Well,
I'm with you now.
Want to find out what makes a Volkswagen a Volkswagen? Come drive it. You'll get it.
Howdy, I'm Kenny Bartram, also known as the Cowboy. When I get on a motorcycle, I'll do just about anything, but even I won't get on a 1,700-pound bull.
Hot Rod Harry gets him down and then runs him over.
Ooh. That's gotta hurt. We know if we do everything right, we land on our wheels. They know in 8 seconds they're hitting the ground. Catch the PBR World Final October 22nd, only on OLN.
How can you tell you're drinking a True Blue Foster's? The head's the same shape as the Sydney Harbour Bridge, of course. Well, that and the light, crisp, refreshing taste. Foster's, Australian for beer.
With Celebrex, I will not give in.
I will not give in. I will not give in to the joint pain of osteoarthritis. With Celebrex, I can line up my putt. I can play the long version.
With Celebrex, one pill lasts up to 24 hours. That's one pill, 24 hours. So you can live your life the way you want.
With Celebrex, I will not settle for part-time relief.
Celebrex should not be taken if you've had aspirin-sensitive asthma or allergic reaction due to aspirin or other arthritis medicines or certain drugs called sulfonamides. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems.
If you're suffering from pain, inflammation, or stiffness, maybe you should stop trying to manage it on your own. Ask your doctor about Celebrex.
With Celebrex, I will not give in.
I will not give in.
Take control with the proven strength of Celebrex.
For those who never quit, the battery that never quits. Energizer. Keep going.
If a homemade dune buggy can have an off-road suspension, if a solar car can use lightweight materials to increase fuel efficiency, if a vehicle this small can have incredible power, then why can't your truck? At GMC, our engineers don't just ask questions, they have answers. Introducing the mid-sized GMC Canyon. Professional-grade engineering. It's not more than you need, just more than you're used to.
The most established runner in this field today, Michelle Dillon, right now starting to open up the gap. And you can see, looking back to second, third, and fourth place, it is significant, almost 75 meters. And Michelle Dillon really looks to have this race in control.
Maxine Cyr just sitting there in second, and some of the Japanese women, Machiko Nakanishi and Kiyomi Niwata, starting to move up the field. Nakanishi currently sitting in third. And then also another athlete, a tested runner from Great Britain, competed at the 5,000 meters for Great Britain in Sydney. Andrea Whitcomb just coming into frame there in the long black suit. And here we see Kiyomi Niwata, so the Japanese women not willing to let it go here at home.
Well, Kiyomi Niwata right now having a fantastic run. She was second in Gamagori in 1997. She was fifth in Gamagori in 98. She has done very well in all of the races here in Japan. So we take a look back here. You can see into the red, Julie Dibbins really starting to lose some time. She led off the bike, but now the running prowess of this athlete, Michelle Dillon, starting to take its toll. Dillon was third on this course last year. She was third at the World Championships in 2002. She was a 10,000 meter Commonwealth Games runner, so we know that she has the ability to finish off the day.
Michelle Dillon came into Ishigaki looking for a spot on the British Olympic team, and early on she looked well on her way to accomplishing that goal. Behind her, two of Japan's top women and Dillon's teammate Andrea Whitcomb ran together, but it was Aussie newcomer Maxine Cyr who eventually made the biggest inroads heading on to the final lap.
Well, Dillon has led for virtually all of this 10-kilometer run. Right now, she's lapping a slower runner out on the course. She's 1.25 kilometers from the finishing line, and many of the loyal spectators who've come out here for almost a decade back out on the course right now with those very rhythmical drums pushing her through. Maxine Cyr now, she's taking that turn. She's about 35 seconds down, and I would say that is a significant gap. I can't see her being able to catch Michelle Dillon today.
Well, there you can see in that shot, not the second athlete into your view, but just further down the field, the next athlete, that is Maxine Cyr. She does have some time to make up. She doesn't have long to do it. Michelle Dillon looking very comfortable out front, but starting to look over her shoulder, and that tells you she doesn't know that she has it sealed up just yet. She probably hears those footsteps behind her. Maxine Cyr now starting to creep up on Michelle Dillon, looking very comfortable, perhaps a little more comfortable than Dillon, in fact, at this point in the run.
Well, if you take a look right now, Michelle Dillon is really getting vertical. Her head is coming up and down, and she is not using her energy very efficiently. Kiyomi Niwata, however, very quick turnover, and she's really soaking up the energy from the crowd. And as we said earlier, the Japanese athletes race phenomenally well at home. They gather the heat and humidity, they deal with the conditions, and right there you can see coming up from behind, Maxine Cyr is really starting to narrow. They're less than 200 meters from the finishing line right now, and they're on the same pathway. Michelle Dillon is going to have to really start to push it. She's now about 200 meters over from the finishing line, and she does not look like she's able to respond. Maxine Cyr is getting absolutely energized as she can see the back of Michelle Dillon coming closer and closer, and they're 100 meters from the finishing line, and Michelle Dillon does not look like she's going to be able to respond. Maxine Cyr, the young 20-year-old Australian, it looks like she's going to be able to steal her first ever World Cup victory. Dillon pushed for almost the entire 10K, but does not have anything left to respond, and it's going to be the young Australian who's going to steal the day as she's getting the accolades of the crowd. Michelle Dillon is not going to be able to go, and it's going to be Maxine Cyr to cross the line with just over 37-minute run, 2 hours and 25 seconds. Michelle Dillon is going to secure her spot for the Olympic Games team, and that's the most important, but she will be disappointed that she let that victory go away.
Well, two key things happening right here. Michelle Dillon just securing that Olympic spot, which was her ultimate goal for this race, and Maxine Cyr already with an Olympic spot in hand, confirming to the world why she got that spot, finishing her first World Cup race here with a victory. And Kiyomi Niwata, what a great result there for the Japanese athlete. Niwata, one of the senior athletes on the Japanese team, having a great race here. As you said, Barry, she races so well in this heat.
Well, look at the water on her backside. You can see the humidity, how hard it is. And there, fourth place, Bridget McMahon crossing the line. What a great comeback race in 2004, but it all belongs to the young Australian. Maxine Cyr, maybe the Australians know something we don't by picking this young athlete for their Olympic team, because she's had a brilliant day today.
Sort of came in here just aiming for a top 8. I had a break only a couple of weeks ago and haven't been back in training for long, so not really that fit. And I only arrived yesterday from Australia, so it really was just see what you can do after being tired and after a long flight. And I think with Michelle, she only had to get top 5, so for her, she's like, okay, I'm secure in the top 5, so probably worked in towards my way a little bit, but no, it was great fun. Felt better and better as the race went on, so like after halfway through the run, I thought I'm going to go after Michelle, so I mean, I had nothing to lose. If I blew up, I blew up, so it's good for my confidence and just leading into the next races.
I felt I could have swum a little bit better. I was just off that pack that I needed to be, so I had to work quite hard on the bike, and I was actually getting a little bit of cramping on the bike as well in the quads. So I was a little bit concerned towards the end of the bike, but you know, I'm a racer and I give it all my all, and that's what I did today. So, oh man, it's just good. It's a good feeling now. It's all sinking in that, you know, the team's there and I'm the first to make it. So you can't beat that.
The other very positive surprise of the day, the 37-year-old Bridget McMahon with her 4th place finish, showing that she's going to be a name to look out for as we head towards Athens.
I have to say I'm really, really happy about the result today. And it's really good to be close to the top again and to kind of feel like I'm getting in shape again. It's been so long since I really felt like I could really, really compete. And yeah, it's just a really wonderful feeling.
Well, clearly the British athletes came here to be well represented, and well they did. Michelle Dillon getting her Olympic spot. The surprise Maxine Sears with her first ever World Cup victory, and Bridget McMahon showing that she is one of the athletes to take a look out for. Canada's Samantha McGlone, she's trying to nail her Olympic spot, and taking a look down, you can see that the Japanese and British athletes very well represented today.
Well, Japan has to be happy with that. 3 women in the top 12. The women's race now secure and over with. Looking ahead, of course, to the men's race, Greg Bennett, the world #1. He's wearing #1 here in Ishigaki.